Hello, welcome to Making It in Maine. I've taken over the entire house. Now I'm in the dining room. Well, I guess I've been in the dining room before. Hi, I'm Suzanne. I have a lot to show you today. I'm going to put in various clips. This is going to be a little cobbled together. But the first thing I want to show you, the saga has ended for the reproduction square in a square quilt. It is done. I washed it, so it's very wrinkly looking, even though I ironed it too. But here it is. Ta-da! It is done. I hand quilted it, and I didn't do the best job basting it. I used pins for basting, which is fine, but I had the bright idea of pinning the backing fabric to the quilt on my bed. Then I laid the batting on top of that, and then I put the top on. And then I pin basted in the center of each square. Well, it just ended up quite ripply. But I don't care. I think it gives it character. And it's going to be up against a wall. So who cares? Do not let the perfect be the enemy of the good. The good here is that this little quilt is finished. The good is that I refused to give in to defeat. The good is that I made it work, even though the colors aren't maybe where I would like. The good is simply that it's done. I attached hanging sleeves, little hanging sleeves, and put a skinny little small dowel in for the hanging. So, woohoo, Suzanne! She finished the little quilt that tortured her so. Yay. So what else have I been up to? I've been seriously, ridiculously trying to finish unfinished things. I think I'm pretty sure that I already mentioned this, how I need to, well, I did. I took out the window, and the window that I had used the thicker quilting thread on, and I'm going to redo it with the black floss like it was originally, and I'm just going to quilt the roof. I'm gonna pull the embroidery floss out of there and use this same pearl cotton that I use to frame the house, and I'm going to frame the roof with that. And that is going to be the end of the quilting on this little stitchery wall hanging. I also attached the binding, so that is progress. And all I have left to do on the binding is from here to here. That's all I have to do. And there will be another finished project. Well, I will add hanging sleeves on this too, but super duper, getting so close to finishing things. I went around today and gathered things that are the closest to being done. And this was one of them, this little tiny, look at that sweet little baby. See the little tiny 4-patch? This measures, let me just grab a, excuse me, let me just grab a quilting ruler. This is a slightly over, well, no, it's 5.5. 5.5 by 5.5. That's what it is. And those little 4 patches finish at a 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch finish on those little cuties. So that is done. And the reason I hadn't finished it was because I didn't know how I wanted to quilt that. Well, it doesn't need to be quilted. So today I just did a quilting in the ditch around the binding. And that's all I need to do for this sweet little coaster. Ta-da, done. Another thing I did today, this is so dark. I don't really even like it, but I just wanted to finish it. It is a tiny little paper-pieced bookmark. So that I tore the papers off because I had not. I cut a little strip for the backing, and I attached the same fabric for the binding. And all I have to do is sew the binding onto the back. Boom, almost done with that. Here's something else I'm finishing up today. This little coaster. This was a leftover block from when I was doing the Jo Morton log cabin. Was it? Yeah, little Jo Morton log cabin quilt. Hand quilted. I'm just starting sewing the binding on to the back. I machine sewed it to the front, and I'm just beginning to sew it to the back. I decided to do a scrappy binding for this one, so I have 4 different fabrics. This one, and this one, and this one. 4 different fabrics, just strips that I already had cut that I had been using to create the log cabins with initially. So whoop-de-doo, that's closer to being done. It's really quite exciting. What else have I been doing? I have been covering band boxes. I'm going to put in some clips. The first thing I have to do is measure. This is a very old measuring tape. I suspect it came from my parents when their house was being cleaned out for sale after they were no longer living there. So let me see what this says. It is 23 inches, and to that I need to add 3 inches. I also have to measure the height of the box. So that is 3 inches. Do I need to add to that? Yes, 2 inches. So 3 plus 2 inches equals 5. All right. Now I have to cut the fabric to those measurements. So it's going to be a 26 by 5 inch piece. I have my first piece of fabric cut, and I folded over about 1 inch and pressed that. Jumping on the fast train here, I want to make sure the box is centered on that strip of fabric. You will notice that I do a lot of turning and turning in a different direction, just trying to figure out the best way to go about this, just, feeling my way along. It has been several years since I covered my first band box with Jo Morton fabric. Applying a fairly even coat of Mod Podge, which I love to call Mod Podge, and rolling it over the fabric, applying more Mod Podge. Keep on rolling and just repeating that process until the whole box is covered, the whole base is covered. It's a sticky business. Mod Podge is a lot like glue. It acts as glue, but it can also act as a sheen. Oh, I see some ripples there on the side of the box. I will have to check. I'll have to check and see if those ripples are still there. Don't think they are. The next step was to clip with scissors almost to the top edge and bottom edge of the box, cutting the fabric at roughly 3/4 inch intervals and then gluing those tabs down to the bottom and down inside. All right, so I'm just clipping, I'd say maybe 1/8 of an inch away from the edge of the top of the lid. Go. Uh-oh. Okay, thought I was being so smart. I should have. Yeah. Thought I was being smart, but in the end, not so much. Not so much. Because, see, this is, yeah, you're going to be able to see. I'm still going to have to cut a strip. Oh, well. This is how we learn. We learn by making mistakes. You might be screaming into your screen saying, no, Suzanne, that's not going to come out the way you think. It's okay. Making mistakes is good. It's how we learn. It's how we learn. All right, I'm going to finish clipping. I could hang some bottle caps or something on here and have a funky tambourine. When I was a student at the University of Maine, Farmington, I took a music in the classroom course, and we all had to make a musical instrument. Well, I made a tambourine. Don't know whatever happened to it. I'm sure I must have pitched it. But I used I think some cardboard and some wire and some bottle caps so that it would do its jingly thing. I have a antique tambourine that hung on my parents' wall all the while they had their home. It was made by my mom's aunt. She was quite artistic, and she did a nice job painting things. So that was something she painted. I don't know if she made the whole thing or she just painted it, but I still have it. Perhaps I shall show it to you. But there is that one. That's the seam where it joins. But you will see a clip about this. Here is the tambourine I was telling you about. Let me see. Get it upright. So there's a bird and a nest in the tree. I don't know what. This is some sort of, I don't know if it's a skin or a hide, or I don't know what it is. But are you able to see well enough the image? Oh wow, there's a moon too. Yeah, I think I don't know, because there's this square is like something that was glued on. I don't know if she put that on first and then painted around it. But anyway, I really like it. And let's see. Here's yeah, so that's it. And the one I made at school was sort of to replicate that. That's going to be a wrap for today. Please come back for part 2 of covering band boxes. And you can see how I finished them. Thank you for being here. Thanks for watching. I'd love to have you comment and tell me what you think of what I'm doing. Love it if you'd subscribe if you haven't. If you already have, thank you so much. Give me a like if you like what you see. I'm grateful for you being here. And until next time, from my heart to yours, bye for now.